Welcome back. This is still TV3Newday. It's time now for the big issue. My guests are seated, and of course, we know what we will be discussing. But quickly, let me just remind you that this segment is proudly brought to you by Niche Chocolate and Niche Cocoa Drinks. So I have a question, a very simple one for you. So what's exciting, what's delicious, what's creamy and rich with vitamins, minerals, and has the goodness of cocoa all at the same time? I guess you know what I'm talking about, right? So it is Niche Chocolate Drink made with Ghana's finest wholesome cocoa. Niche chocolate is full of delicious goodness, and it comes in 250 ml bottle and 180 ml Tetra packs so that you can enjoy it big or small. It's great for all members of the family. It's available in any shop near you, so please visit them and enjoy. Niche Taste of Ghana. And I believe my guests are already enjoying some Niche this morning. Good to see you in the studios. I have with me this morning Sylvester Matthew Tete. He's the MP for Botiano English Amafro constituency. Good morning.
Good morning,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm good, thank you very much. And also Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, we'll call him Comrade. He's the MP for Tamale Central constituency. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
Except that my name this morning has changed.
You've changed your name?
Yes, you can add it if you so wish. Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed Ufuriata. I want to land the juicy contract, so I want Ufuriata to be.
And it's the name that will land you the juicy contract?
I told him if he wants appointment, he should just go and sue affidavit and add Ufuriata to his name.
What kind of mischief is
What
it?
mischief?
What kind of mischief?
I'm telling you what
I'm
it
not
should
sure what's going on.
So
I thought you'd say maybe you want to be finance minister. That's why you want to be called
Ufuriata. For the purposes of this
Ufuriata.
program, describe me as Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed Ufuriata.
Is it not too early for this?
No.
I guess that will land him more time.
I guess so. It's like you want to change your name to. Do you want to add
Ufuriata.
maybe a Kufado?
Well, if you ask me, the kind of sacrifice the so-called Ufuriatas is referring to are making for this country and what they're going through, vilifications like what he is seeking to do this morning, I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, you wouldn't
I'm proud
want
of my
to?
name.
Okay.
And let them be proud of their name.
Only because the name and the family is so vilified.
No, you see.
But if they are doing something good, won't you want to associate
Oh,
with?
no, I associate with whatever anybody does in this country that is good. And I don't want to be so mischievous to say that I want to change my name.
Your name.
To, because when he was in government,
It's like Mutala Mohammed.
when he was in government at the Ministry of Trade, I believe the same way, perhaps members of his own family or party would have wished to be called Mutala Mohammed because of the goodies available to him at the time. So he can choose to be on
Bella, did I hear him say the kind of sacrifices that has landed us at the IMF? Sacrifices that has
He's talking about the vilification.
If you want to talk about IMF, Bella, we all know you were in IMF.
This is just for
I'm saying that sacrifices that has taken unemployment from 6.8 to over 19%. You should be worried when you begin to assess the suffering of people. Particularly your constituents.
Which is why I'm wondering why you want to be called Ufuriata, because if you're saying that they haven't done such a great job.
I want to land the juicy contract so that I can properly and fairly redistribute the resources that is only allowed to be distributed.
Anyway.
This is
Let me introduce my third guest. He joins us via Zoom. He's Adokwe Ayikwe Awule, the Communications Director for CCT Ghana, Coalition of Concerned Teachers. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to your panelists and all your viewers.
I hope you're doing well.
Well, we are managing.
Oh, he should greet you because you're a teacher. So
fellow teacher, the only teacher on this program, he is not. So he doesn't know how teachers feel.
Anyway, let's start off with our first story. Let's start off with our first story for today. So yesterday, organized labor was scheduled to meet representatives of government. And so yesterday we had the Minister of National Security, the Finance Minister, who was a very key person in this meeting because organized labor had insisted that they wanted to meet with him. In particular, we had also other state officials and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission meeting organized labor. And this was on the back of demands made by the organized labor team asking for cost of living allowance. And they said that was supposed to cushion them in the face of economic crisis, if you may say. But for some reason, there was a walkout that was staged by the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and also the National Graduate Association of Teachers, NAGRAT. And this was because government had asked them to call off the strike that has gone beyond a week before they can negotiate with them. Let's just take a look at some videos and footages from yesterday, exactly what happened before we come to Awule to start the conversation.
The meeting was between government, organized labor and associations. 5 minutes into the closed-door discussions, government's representative reportedly asked the leadership of the teacher unions to call off their strike. But the teacher unions declined, putting the meeting on hold for 45 minutes.
No. We are still on strike. That's all that he has said. We don't want to give any further detail.
But you are boycotting the meeting now.
No, we are not boycotting the meeting. There are other people still in there.
So why are you leaving?
That one will talk to you about it. But for now, the strike is still in force.
The government side is not ready to continue negotiations unless the teacher unions call off strike. They've held all organized labor hostage. And this is a betrayal of trust, because the understanding we had is that organized labor is being convened for us to find solutions to the issue of cola. Right now, since we are undesirable, we think that before they even walk us out of the meeting, we are walking out of the meeting ourselves.
Later, the government team continued with the meeting with other unions but failed to agree on the 20% cost of living allowance. Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, Bright Rekubrobe, expressed disappointment in the attitude of the leadership of the teacher unions.
Are you disappointed that they have not called off?
Obviously, yes, because we were under very high optimism that they would do so that we start the negotiation. So we are not too happy that they had not called off, but I'm sure very short time they will do so for us to start.
The argument is that you have not put anything before them. For that reason, on what basis are they going to report to their members?
I am telling you that the name of the game is negotiation. The law does not permit us to negotiate under duress. We cannot negotiate once a party is on strike. So we have appealed to them, we are talking to them, we have even quoted the law. We hope that they would call off the strike and then we can engage them.
Final question, in case they don't call off, what will you do? We'll go to the National Labour Commission?
Well, when we get there, we'll cross.
Honorable is already there and the strike is getting done.
When we get there, we'll cross.
And that's Honorable Bright Rekubrobe. He is the Deputy Employment and Labor Minister. And clearly, he said it there that we cannot negotiate with the teachers if they do not call off the strike. And so we're hoping that they would do so we can carry on with the rest of the meeting. Again, joining us, Communications Director for CCT, Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Ghana, Dokwe Ayikwe Awule. So why was it difficult to call off the strike if the minister is saying, and of course he was quoting the law, Labour Act, that says that you cannot go into a negotiation if you have called a strike?
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, let me correct this thing. All the 4 unions walked out of the meeting. It wasn't only 2. And from the clip, you could see President Kinali Awudu also speaking. So we all walked out, or we left. I will say we left the meeting.
Okay.
Now, let me start from what you have just quoted. If you look at the labor law, 651, section 161. Now, I am not a lawyer, but to my understanding, I think what it is saying is that if 2 parties are in dispute and they are in negotiation, they are already negotiating or they are mediating on that issue, a party should not resort to a walkout, an industrial action, or a strike action, whatever it is. So we are already on strike, and you know we were on strike, and you invited us to a meeting. And this meeting is not with the 4 unions that were on strike, but it is more or less an organized labor meeting, what we call the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee meeting, and we are part of it. And you invited us to that meeting. So if you know that meeting is meant to negotiate for that cola and we are on strike, you shouldn't have invited us. But they invited us and we went. Now they were saying that they cannot negotiate with us whilst we are still on strike. So we should immediately call off the strike. And they were dragging our feet for over 1 hour. We weren't seeing the headway of the meeting, and we realized that maybe we have now become an obstacle to the smooth negotiation that they wanted in court. So we decided to walk out of the meeting.
But again, this same labor law, if you look at section 127, let's just read 3 and 4. It says here that a worker or group of workers who by any kind of threat seeks to intimidate the employer during negotiations or a collective agreement is guilty of unfair labor practice. And employers or employers organizations who seek by any kind of threat to intimidate the worker also during negotiations of a collective agreement are guilty of unfair labor practice. So these are some of the issues that were raised. And we're saying that at that point, you know that once you're walking into a negotiation, then you have to definitely call off that strike. So you also should have been the bigger person to agree that, well, let's call off this strike so that we can negotiate on behalf of the entire organized labor. Was that too much to ask for? Especially knowing that there are students who are in school without their teachers at the moment.
Thank you very much. You see, you are...
Sorry, I think I've missed you at this point. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
Carry
I
on,
think you are
please.
mixing up this whole thing with students or pupils who don't have teachers, and then it will confuse the whole issue.
No problem.
I am not
Carry
a
on.
lawyer. I wouldn't like to go into the nitty-gritties of the labor law or the labor act. Definitely, we will not be on strike forever.
Okay.
We want government to show something positive. We want government to bring something positive to the table, and at the end of the day, we will take a decision on it. We know government appealed to the unions last Friday in their letter that we should call off the strike.
Yeah.
So it's an appeal. Now the appeal has turned into more or less you have to leave or you have to call off the strike. Like, so we don't understand. I think this very issue should have been handled by even organized labor. Maybe we should have even sat down and organized labor should come together and they should tell us that, oh, maybe Nat Nagrat CCT to call off your strike whilst we are going into this negotiation. Even we have to meet our various councils. We've not yet met our councils because some of them are Muslims, they were celebrating. And then all of a sudden you insist that at that particular meeting, they should have held an earlier meeting with us.
Okay.
And let us agree to even call off the strike or otherwise before going into the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee meeting. But you don't invite us to that meeting. And then you decided that you are going to segregate us, that we should call off the strike. If not, the negotiation cannot take place. It is an ambush.
If the other unions within organized labor had met you and asked you, appeal to you to, call off that strike so that you can all go as a united front to go and request for COLA from governments, would you have agreed?
You see, we will not be on strike forever.
But would you have agreed?
No, it is coming amongst us. Even who is saying that we are not going to agree with government to even call off the strike? We can agree with government that His Excellency the President have also appealed to us. We can also agree with him. So it is not a matter of we going to be on strike forever and we are not going to agree when His Excellency the President should appeal to us. We were waiting to even go to our various councils. And if they knew there's an issue of us not calling off our strike and we shouldn't be part of that meeting, the meeting started at 2 p.m. They should have called us maybe early in the morning. They could have even held a meeting with us during the weekend. We told them we are always available. And we would have attended that meeting and we would have come to a consensus as to calling off the strike or not. And then the meeting would have proceeded.
Even if it meant not paying the COLA? Because that is the basis for which the teacher unions went on strike. What if government had said that we may not be able to pay you the cost of living allowance, but you still call off that strike?
So you see why we are saying that government should have come to the table with something. We've met twice already, and nothing came to the table. Nothing. So your fears are now my fears. That at the end of the day, if we should call off the strike, and government says, okay, you've called off the strike, let's start negotiation, I have nothing to give you. Then what are we going to do? But we thank the other unions. They are in solidarity with us. And at the end of the day, they are still insisting that we should be part of that meeting. So definitely the meeting could not hold. So we are waiting. This morning, we have received an emergency invitation from the minister. From the government side, we are going to meet again, maybe I think at the Ministry of Education.
Okay. Is it the entire organized labor or just the 4 teacher unions?
No, just the 4 teacher unions.
Okay. You are meeting government later today?
Yeah, it is an emergency invitation. We just saw the invitation this morning. And we are supposed to go there this morning, as I'm speaking to you, in less than an hour.
If you meet them and they still insist that you call off the strike, what would it take for you to want to make that decision?
It shouldn't be, you see, I don't think government will insist, like, as if they are forcing us.
What if they appeal?
All of this strike. We don't want that. I think they should deal with us in a mature manner. We are part of stakeholders. I think when it comes to all the public sector labor groups, we are the largest. I think teachers are the largest public sector workers, over 65% of the public sector workers. So I think there should be some cordial relationship between us and government, and we should deal with ourselves on a highly respectable manner. Okay.
Now you're asking for 20% COLA. There's a report that indicates that about 90% of public sector workers are earning about 2,007 Ghana cedis. Now, if you do the calculations, that's just about a little over 400 Ghana cedis cost of living allowance that each person who may be earning about 2,000 Ghana cedis will be asking for. Is that not too small for the kind of stress that all of you may be going through, which is a concern that a lot of people are asking, that we have students who are still in school, do not have their teachers. There are some who are preparing to even write BEC and WASI, and the teachers are saying that we still insist on this COLA. But when you calculate, the money is not much. Is it worth all this trouble?
Oh, I don't think you expect us to ask for 100%. We've even gone into negotiation where we have agreed to take 4% and 7% because of the economic conditions that we find ourselves in. I think I am in my early 40s, but I've never experienced such hardship in my life before. I think you could all agree with me.
Yeah.
Things are difficult. I think some teachers even receive less than 1,700 a month as their basic salary. So we are not asking for much. I think all of you can agree. Just something to sustain us. People have been some teachers have been using motorbikes. They have been taking trotro to work and all those. And I think that 20% can bring some sort of relief to them in one way or the other.
Okay.
And you say, let me be clear. We started asking for this thing way back, even somewhere November 2021, because we foresaw that things are not going to be well. And we've insisted on 20%, 20%, 20%. Actually, it is between 20% and 30%. Our fallback is 20%. So government can decide to even give us 30%. We will take it. Definitely. We will take it. So it shouldn't always be maybe government is going to negotiate with us, so the 20% must come down. Maybe they want to negotiate with us so that they will even give us 29%, 30%. And we are ready for that.
Okay. Sly, let me bring you in, because he says that we're not asking for much, just something very little to cushion us in this time of crisis. Why is government, sort of taking an entrenched position, especially with the teachers? Because they're saying that unless you call off this strike, we're not going to negotiate with you. Meanwhile, this was supposed to be a meeting with the entire organized labor and not just teachers. So they feel as if you betrayed them.
Well, good morning, Bella, and good morning to my good friend Mutala and my constituents this morning. It's not a pleasant time to be talking about these matters, because where I sit, I really sympathize with the teachers and the working class of this country.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course. I also go to the same market, and truth be told, the president has also told the good people of this country the difficult times we find ourselves, and nobody is running away from that. We can't be saying all is rosy when you have an inflation of about 28% as of this moment. We all know the difficulties we find ourselves, and that teachers goes to the same market. And if you look at their salaries, if you're a teacher with a family of 4, you can imagine how you're going to take care of your kids, are going to take care of your family and all that. So it is, if you want to go on that tangent, obviously you ask that they should be given over 100% increment of their salary. And government is pretty much aware of the challenges we find ourselves today. But like he rightly said, there are 65% of public sector workers today, they're teachers. If you look at the public wage, Bella, let's also go to see the national kitty as it stands now. From the numbers we are seeing, if today, all things being equal, whatever revenues are coming in, if you pay your amortization and interest of debt servicing, and your revenue is gone. So the 20%, if you look at the nominal value of 20% and you say it is too small to ask, yes, on the value of it is too small. But when you put it together on the national kitty, we are finished. That's a serious matter we are looking at. I think that is where government is coming from. Okay. So on that tangent, yes, I sympathize. Look, if you have your way, you give the best of care to your kids. But you look at your circumstances, and that is where I believe government is coming from. Again, the second leg of this question is the processes we are going through. I believe rightly that the teacher unions know very much, and they are very well versed in the labor law. So this issue, it's been with successive governments, the processes and the procedure, organized labor call for strike in this country. Look, every Ghanaian sympathizes with the concerns of the teachers. Me, if you look at my salary today and what I go through, obviously, I have every right to be on the street to advocate for salary increment. But you look at prevailing conditions and circumstances we find ourselves as a country. Then you come to legality of the strike itself. You have a right to call for a strike, but there are laid down rules and procedures enshrined in the labor law that you go under. And it says that you cannot call for a strike whilst you negotiate. They know. So the basic thing that you should serve notice of an intended strike. Then you begin the negotiation. But when you call for a strike lasting for over a week, I also get their point that if you know you cannot negotiate, why did you call us into that meeting? Perhaps is to inform them, yes, we are prepared to negotiate with you. Call off the strike and let's negotiate.
But could you not have done that separately with the
They could have also equally started the negotiation before going on the strike. They know.
But they've been asking you since February.
They've been asking for. But you see, it doesn't negate the fact that you cannot flout the same law under which you were asking for. Clearly, I sympathize with them. But we must not lose sight of the fact that we are in difficult times. And of course, for every teacher or organized labor, the only language perhaps the policymakers understand is strike. And normally, we use the innocent ones, the children, as a tool to advance our cause. That becomes more problematic. We've had series of these, not peculiar to this administration. It's been so from successive government. But I think that we should be looking at it from two sides of the coin. Okay. Government is prepared to negotiate. Because if the Ministry of Labor is negotiating, of course, they take into cognizance all the prevailing factors and they go to the exchequer to look at whether or not government is in a position to. We are all bemoaning the high levels of our debt today. Where is the money going to come from? It's going to come from the meager resources that we put together as revenue. But if you look at the revenue stream today, obviously, if you do amortization and debt servicing, we are done, zero. So when we are asking for even 10% increment of public sector workers, obviously it throws away whatever we have today. So government must find innovative ways of dealing with the teachers. So there are so many ways we can negotiate for cost of living allowance, not necessarily giving them salary increment. So we should all sit now and look at how we can mitigate the prevailing impact on our teachers so that they... Look,
how do you suggest we do it? Because at this point, the teachers have spoken and they're saying that if we see how much government is spending in building a cathedral, the flights of the president, private jets here and there, if we look at all of that, and yes, we got only a 4%, 7% increase in salary, then clearly the teacher is not a priority to government. And they've been asking for cost of living allowance since February. They gave a deadline of 30th June. So they would embark on a strike. There was no word from government.
Bella, let me tell you something. If we go on that tangent of immediately citing the travels of the president, that's problematic.
How so?
It's problematic because if you look at the economy, if you look at I'm not too sure the president had embarked on any travel that is not so important for this country. That is not so important for this country. And how does the president travel? If you want to go into that to say, like, let the president stop traveling today. Let the president stop traveling. Let us not put up the cathedral. Put all those monies into, say, you are increasing the salaries of these of teachers.
Would that not have been better?
It would not have still made the necessary impact we are seeking to do.
How so?
Right. The president has UN engagement, other international engagement that are statutory that the president must attend. Are you saying that the president should not attend? No, he will still attend.
He shouldn't attend. Yes. But it's the means of transport.
But I've asked these questions on many occasions. The president is scheduled to travel to 3 other European countries and perhaps ending up in an African country. We know the flight that caused this country. The last time the president was going to Dubai, where Emirates has a first-class cabin suitable for the travel of the president. He did that on a commercial flight. If the president is going to Berlin, the president is going to Brussels, and he would end up in Rwanda. And you say the president takes KLM, which doesn't have a first-class cabin, but a business-class cabin that security is compromised. He gets to Brussels, and he has to go to he has to go to Berlin and end up in Rwanda. How do you want the president to commute? He's not the first president of this country that have traveled on private jets.
Many times?
Of course, but the circumstance we find ourselves, when you don't have a national carrier for the president, we do. Please, you don't. The state of it, get the report of it. We all know.
But
so
the first lady was told flew in this presidential jet to Rwanda. Could the president not have come back?
Listen. From here to Rwanda, we're looking at the travel time. We're looking at the travel time. That's what the experts are saying. I'm not an expert. That's what because he cannot do that long haul. And the president is not a technical person. We've had problems with it. Even former president, may he so rest in peace, Professor Mills, and Kuku Anyindoku had to come and put this fact there. The safety of the president is mostly compromised when you put him on that flight on the long haul. But that is a legitimate cause for people, perhaps, who do not have the full fact of the state of our presidential
But we've been
carrier.
asking for it, and yet you're not telling us exactly how much it costs for the president to travel.
No, it is not about
using
the cost.
A private
It is
jet,
not the
because
cost.
we're told that it is
not,
a national security matter.
It is
and
not,
so that poor teacher in some village who is looking for a salary increment, who is asking for cola, if you are not giving him an explanation as to how much you're spending on the president's travels, and yet there are always allegations of thousands of dollars and pounds being spent. How do you expect him to feel?
Let us not digress.
I'm not digressing. I'm bringing the teacher in.
Yes, the teacher is at the center of what? The teacher is at the center just like any other person is at the center of this conversation we are having. But I'm saying that if you have the security of the president is paramount to any other thing in this country. Is the number one person.
The livelihood of the teacher is also
important. It is equally important, just like the laborer in the farms. They are also important. And I'm saying that if the president is traveling, the security of the president is paramount to any other thing. He knows. He's been in government before. The security of the president is paramount. So when we are negotiating for all this, yes, people can cite these examples and all that. But I'm saying that there's a technical report on the state of the presidential career in this country. We all know that. Now, coming to what the teachers are asking for, I've just told you, you put all our revenue together in the kitty, the debt that you owe and the interest that you have to pay. If you do, it's done. It doesn't mean government is closing an eye on the plight of our teachers. I've said that we go to the same market. We feel the heat everybody feels today. We buy from the same pump. I buy my own fuel. He buys his own fuel. We feel the heat whenever increment is given. I've made that point clear. But I'm also saying that we must also go beyond that. Whilst we negotiate for better conditions of living for ourselves, we should also be concerned about the poor child out there who tomorrow...
concerned?
It's a concern of government. We are not saying that don't ask for anything. But whilst we are doing this, do that within the confines of the law. Don't digress to cite you have not even come to the table and you are citing reasons why you are doing that. That is not so fair.
But it's in the full glare of the public. Everybody knows what's happening. There have been even allegations about the cathedral. 200 million Ghana cedis has been spent in putting up the cathedral, which has gotten to nowhere at this point. Couldn't that money have been used to cushion public sector workers?
Teacher, look, 200 million. Just do a simple arithmetic of the 65% of public sector who are teachers and do a 2% increment and see how much it comes to. Let's go that way and see how much it comes to. Please, they're asking for 20%. Just do 20%, okay, what they are asking for. Don't do the 20%. Do 5% of what they're asking for and quantify it and see. This is not one-time payment. Look, we always have reasons not to do anything. If we want to satisfy ourselves, we must as well cancel perhaps government machinery and say channel the money to the welfare of this. Some other people, look, the last time the mortuary workers went on strike asking for increment of their salaries, they were citing how much nurses and doctors are paid at the hospitals. So everybody has a reason. But I'm saying that the reason for this cola is the prevailing economic situation we all find ourselves. We all agree. But in the face of all that, you have a prevailing economic situation that we cannot run away from. And most of this is a globally impact on our economy today that we are not running, we should not run away. It cannot be partly.
Partly.
Largely.
Partly.
Largely.
Economists have also outlined things that we could have done.
Largely.
So also cushion ourselves, but we didn't do that.
These issues we are talking about, successive government, we all know as a country, yes, there are things today. If we stop depending largely on import in this country, it will save our economy. Most of us crying for increment of salaries and all that, we still continue to patronize foreign goods in this country. We are also contributing to it. So we need to change the psyche. Whilst policymakers are being called upon to be expedient in the way they spend the public purse, we must also be contributing to helping the system. Okay. Because if you continue to patronize foreign goods, obviously you are putting burden on government to increase its foreign exchange to import foreign goods for us. So these are things that we can extend the conversation every day. Look, we were talking about Operation Feed Yourself. Many people live in this country that one way or the other, we can help to increase the food production in our countries in this country. Look, when we were young, and he knows, back in the days, we have school gardens and school farms that we use. You see many agri-colleges in this country, they don't have a single plantation to even depend on. These are problems that we should go back to the core. So the teachers has a legitimate cause to ask for living conditions of service. But we're pleading with them to look at the prevailing circumstances and also calm down a bit. Whilst you are negotiating, please go back to the classroom and continue to negotiate. We all support them. Because my salary, a teacher will cite an MP, and they often cite us, look at how much you are paying the members of parliament. But if you go and do the numbers, and look at the taxes, you take everything, look at what is left for member of parliament. If you should sit here and discuss it, you will call that they should increase our salaries by 300%.
Okay.
But we are concerned about the state of our economy. We are concerned about the plight of ordinary people walking on the street. So please, I want to plead with them. They should look at the future of these young ones. We side with them. Let them go to the table. Let them negotiate. Government will definitely
the
find a space.
government says you can't negotiate, so that means that
no, the negotiation, the law. It is about the law.
Asking them to call off the strike.
They call off the strike. They should call off the strike and go to the table.
Call off the
they
strike.
call off the strike and go to the table and negotiate at that level. All of us will add.
But that's what he's saying. That what if we call off the strike and we go and negotiate, and government says there's nothing we can do about it?
Everybody is watching. Government has not shown that posture of that. There's nothing we cannot do. Government has not done that yet. Okay. So let them have confidence in the same government. The Ghanaian people are watching. They've made an impactful decision by going on a strike for over a week. Everybody is watching. Let them call off the strike. Let them go to the negotiations table. Okay. And I believe that government will listen to them.
Comrade, should they call off the strike?
Bella, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me say good morning to my good friend Sly. And good morning to your cherished viewers. And most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. Permit me also to wish all Muslims across the globe Eid Mubarak. I think after the Eid, I haven't been on this program. Yes. I think a week before the Eid, yes.
I forgot to wish you as well.
I haven't been on this program. First and foremost, there isn't any statutory travels the president must engage in. There's nothing.
Not statutory. These are conventional. Sorry.
Can I finish? I was listeing to you. If I didn't force those words out of you.
No, but he's admitted that was just a slip. He's using the right word now.
I said there isn't any. Okay. So the president is not under any compulsion to embark on any travel. Even UN conferences, the president can delegate someone to travel for and on behalf of the president and the good people of this country. No president under the Fourth Republic in his first term has traveled more than President Nana-Addo. That is the fact. And under the Fourth Republic, he happened to be the oldest president, and he has traveled more. He has that insatiable quest for traveling. It is also important to state that there is absolutely nothing wrong with our presidential flight. There is nothing wrong with it. It is usable. And I was happy when you pointed out to him that the First Lady traveled with it, except that you tell me the president doesn't care about the safety of his spouse. I'm saying except.
The distance.
Except what distance? Why? To Europe and then to what's the name?
Paris.
Paris, and then you tell me that the distance. When you wanted members of parliament to come and vote in the matter of e-levy, you took the presidential jet to Germany. to bring a single member of parliament to come and vote in the matter of the e-levy.
It's not true.
That is a fact.
It's not true.
And
it's not true.
Oh, that is a fact. And the gentleman even boasted how he relaxed in the flight. It is a fact. And I challenge you. We can find out the itinerary of the presidential jet. At that time, it went to Germany. Apart from that, what did they go to Germany to do? To take a person just because of e-levy. Except that the president doesn't care about the safety.
Jet was
can
not
I finish?
That one.
Can I finish?
You can finish.
I listen to you. I beg you. I beg you. So I'm saying that you did that. You took it, the presidential jet, and I challenge TV3. Find out at the time whether you can hide that, whether the presidential flight went to Germany. What did it go to Germany to do? It went to Germany to take one single member of parliament. And push me, I will mention the name of that member of parliament.
Who is that member of parliament? We would want to know.
Well, let me keep my cards now. And that's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking.
Well, you are the one making the claim. So tell us who this member of parliament is.
I'm saying that I'm not. Well, I'm just telling TV3. I'm saying that find out the itinerary of the presidential jet where it goes cannot be hidden. Find out at that time when it went to Germany, to Cologne, what did it go to Germany to do?
Who did it go and pick up?
Well, I say find out. I want you to do that and find out. Now, in any case, why would the president expose the wife? If the president thinks that the presidential jet is unsafe to be used, why would he allow beautiful Rebecca? And he says it, my beautiful Rebecca. Why would he allow beautiful Rebecca? No, the safety of the first lady is paramount to us. It's paramount, the safety of the wife of the president. You are now telling me that the president simply doesn't care about the safety of the wife.
That's not what he said.
That is what it means.
No, that's not what he said.
That is the implication.
He talked about the distance.
If consistent, he said the safety.
He said the length of time.
He said the safety.
Yes, and the length of time.
Why? To Europe? To Europe? Where has the president ever traveled with a presidential jet to the space? Traveled it with, I'm saying that to the space. And now he says that, oh, the president goes to one country to another into Africa. He can't go with it. And as a matter of fact, the children of the president travels with the presidential jet. They use it like trotro.
You have facts?
Oh, he knows.
You have facts
this matter went to court.
Bella, which court? Which court?
There
which
was
matter?
a determination on this
which matter went to
that
court?
Somebody made an allegation
I said,
that
which
the
matter?
president were traveling.
I said, which matter?
Went to court as
Which matter went to court? Which matter went to court? They use the presidential jet like trotro. But
you cannot say they use it like trotro.
You have to distance yourself from this.
Bella.
Unless you have facts to back it that they actually use it like trotro.
Bella, okay, let us not even drag this issue where you ask the question. Is it not the fact that the first lady traveled with it?
But that one we were told in that statement that was released that the first lady flew in the presidential jet to Rwanda.
I think that if I were beautiful Rebecca, I would be concerned, to be very honest, that I was allowed to travel with a flight that is unsafe to be used by the president. But Bella, on this matter, I am so passionate about it. One, because I'm a teacher myself, and I can understand his insensitivity to the plight of teachers, the insensitivity.
How do you say that?
Let me finish. The insensitivity of the plight of the entire government on teachers. He says that they violated the law. They did not violate any law. They were not those who called for the negotiation. They went on strike and they have the right constitutionally to do so. Now, if you are inviting them to negotiation, you cannot say that because the law says you can't go to the negotiating table when you have a strike that is ongoing. They didn't say, we want to negotiate with you. They have had series of meetings with you, and you listen to him. There are 2 different meetings before the 3rd one, and government was unwilling to put in anything. If you are not willing to negotiate or to compromise on certain positions, you don't go to negotiation. If you are not willing to give up certain rights, then you should not go to any negotiation. So they haven't violated any law. Okay. They haven't. Let's take this. You see, when you begin to assess and analyze the suffering of people at a distance, that is where you are. Now he says that, no, quantify the amount of money that have been spent on the cathedral and that it is not significant. The reason why people will use that as justification is that when you tell me that I should tighten my belt, then I look at you. You don't even have belt hooks, let alone belt. Now, if you spend over $23 million on the architectural design of the cathedral, Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. The cost for the architectural design was $1.5 million. $1.5 million. Now, you spend $23 million on architectural design of the cathedral, which was illegally taken without the approval of Parliament. He knows, as a member of Parliament, that Parliament never sanctioned such approval. And you criminally do that, and you think that people should not be concerned about it. That is why people are raising these issues. In one breath, yes, I understand that teachers ought to be in school, but the teachers are also human beings. If I work with you, and the amount of money I take cannot fuel my car to my constituency, I really don't think that I'll be able to execute my responsibility as a member of Parliament, so expected of me by law and by the people who have voted me. Some of these teachers, their concerns have been repeated. That look, at the end of the day, even transportation alone takes our money. Could you imagine a teacher who lives at Adenta and teaches somewhere maybe at in Medina, or sorry, in Accra? Such a teacher, how much does he need to take trotro? And assuming that the teacher who is supposed to be in class at certain specific times, he comes out, he's not able to get trotro. He will take Uber, he will take taxi. And that teacher would have to spend a lot of money. And we live in a country where accommodations are not provided for teachers. So they have quantified all of these things. And they say, give us cola. Just cost of living allowance. When prices of things are escalating. But you see, Bella, I would have to thank my brother and commend him for at least being sincere this morning. He has admitted how reckless this government has managed the economy. I'll tell you why. He has admitted on this program.
No, but
can I finish?
No, you can't finish when
that's
you are making allegations that are not true.
I'll give you the chance to respond, but let him land. He's making a point.
Bella,
let him land. I'll give you an opportunity.
With the words of commendation, I thought he would have faintly said thank you.
Well, that's what we all thought.
I'm saying that, yes,
he admitted that
commending him. You hardly find such honest individuals.
But what did he say?
He has admitted how reckless this government has messed up with this economy.
How?
He repeatedly used the word that you know the situation, the prevailing economic circumstances that we hold on. The economic circumstances that we all find ourselves. We didn't find ourselves in these economic circumstances. You put us there. So admitting that the economy is messed up, for which reason he is now appealing to the consciences of teachers to go back to class, it's a clear admission.
But a number of economies globally are messed up too. Because of COVID.
Those countries, COVID didn't affect only Ghana, did it? COVID affected Burkina. It affected Ivory Coast. It affected Togo. Affected Niger. It affected them more than us. Affected Senegal. How many of them went to the IMF for $3 billion loan? Burkina Faso went for 20 million. How many of them went to the World Bank? We have been told now, $903 million. When we were told initially that they got just $150 million. 903 million in the name of COVID. How many of them dipped their hands into their central bank for 10 billion, ended up being 20 billion? How many of them dipped their hands into funds established by their previous president, President Mahama, statutory funds? You dip your hands into them. Now, you pretended to give us something free, and now you are now asking us to pay for what you pretended to give us free. And how unfair and unjust that demand is even made. That there were people who didn't benefit the so-called free water and free electricity who are now paying for it. Is it a fair demand? Now, if I didn't benefit because of the usage of my electricity, I never benefited from the free electricity. Now I'm being asked to pay, and I pay that money whether I benefited or not. Bella, aren't you guys interested in finding out from this government whether... Bella, let me finish. Aren't you guys interested in finding out from this government whether we have paid more than we should pay for? If you give us something free for 2 months, or even 3 months, now we are being asked to pay, and we are now paying. We need to know how much you have paid so far. So that if you have paid more than we should, then it will be criminal for you to continuously take in that. And that is what you are subjecting the people of this country.
But that's what I'm asking, that should the teachers call off the strike? Because government says that per the law, that is the only way we can negotiate with you.
The teachers are saying that, yes, we will not call off the strike because we have had 2 meetings with you. You are unwilling to put something on table. We have 2 meetings with you. You didn't even say anything. Now you demand that we do this. And they know how this government consistently has been tricking people. What this government does is that they do what I describe as get off my back excuses. So call off the strike. We come there and say, okay, you go ahead and teach. At the very time you are saying that the economy is challenged, the government, the president is asking us to increase the budget of the presidency to 2 billion. At the very time you are asking us to call off the strike and understand the challenges, You are now asking the people of this country that add more people to work for me within the presidency. These are the reasons. So, point of correction, and I urge you, sin and don't sin anymore. Don't ever sit anywhere and say that the economic conditions under which you are subjected. Say the economic conditions that you have subjected the people.
We'll take a break. We'll take a break. Sly, I'll let you respond. We'll take a break. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. We'll also get into the food shortage in the senior high schools. We're told to expect some food items to be delivered to the various senior high schools across the country at least by today. We'll check on that and have a conversation on it. But remember to grab a bottle of Niche chocolate drink for yourself. It gets hotter when we get back. Keep watching. It's still the big issue on TV3Newday. In the studios, I have Honorable Sly Tete. He's the MP for Botiano English Manfro constituency. And also, Comrade Murtala Mohammed is the MP for Tamale Central. On Zoom, we have the Communications Director for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Adukwe Ayikwe Awule. And we'll go to him shortly so we can wrap up with this conversation and get into the food shortage in senior high schools. But Sly, you wanted to touch on a few things that
I think that Murtala should be measured when we are discussing national issues. And overly, it should be measured. The kind of things you are saying.
Allow him, please.
Please, Murtala, you painting the picture that I'm suggesting that we've run down this economy. Look, the economic indicators you left, and between 2017 to 2019, before COVID broke, the records are there. We had a superior record in terms of inflation, in terms of interest rate, in terms of, import cover and all that. It was better until COVID broke. The way you were spending, look, let me tell you, you are talking about the teacher. Under this NDC administration, I hate to do that. But teachers were employed and they taught for 3 years without paying them.
That's a lie.
It's not a lie.
It's an
the legacy
lie.
Debt. Look,
good teacher.
Teachers can text into this program.
That's a lie.
That they have taught for 3 years and they were given 3 months' salary.
That's a lie.
If you say a lie, teachers are watching.
Okay.
They can text into this program.
Okay.
Look, I've had teachers confirm that. That was,
please allow him to speak.
It became a legacy debt.
I mean, Awule is here. We'll let him touch on it.
Yes, touch on that one. Teachers were taught. They were posted. They taught for 3 years.
That's a lie.
And you care about teachers. You posted somebody's daughter to a village somewhere. For 3 years, you didn't pay the person.
That's a lie.
And you end up giving the person 3 months. Take or leave it. In this country, we had lived under that condition. I have never sought to paint the picture that all is well, including my own good self. But I'm saying, nobody is running away from the prevailing economic situation we find ourselves, including the president. When he came to parliament, he told us, go and look at page 2 of the President's State of the Nation address to parliament. He indicated that the times are not normal. We are aware. Go to the IMF. They warned global leaders and the global economists that the world is not normal because of the ravaging effect of COVID-19. You can downplay it. When you were going to the IMF, what were you blaming this? The reasons why you went to IMF for? You were blaming huge wage bill, public wage bill. That was what you cited as an example, public wage bill. And today you are asking that if the teachers are even asking for 20%, that is not much to ask for. Yes, you can say so. But put that to the public wage bill today and look at the effect on the economy. You may play all the politics with it, but reality is out there. The reality is out there. Look, the expenditures of this country, yes, obviously, everybody has a reason to scrutinize the public expenditure that we engage in, to say that, look, somebody will say, your common fund, if you are directed into this area, it will be better than doing this or doing that in your constituency. It is for everybody's right to say so. But let me say, where we are today, if you're a government communicator, if you're a policy maker, you must be honest with the good people of this country. And that's what I'm seeking to do. I have not downplayed the importance of the strike they've called, but I'm saying that do that within the confines of the law. The teachers themselves, they know that they cannot hold on the strike and ask government to negotiate. That's an illegality. So whilst we plead with them, we all share their pain. And I share the same sentiment with them. But I'm saying that let them call off the strike and go back to the negotiation table. If government reneges on it, look, the bottom line of all this then is about ability to pay. That's also critical. It's an ability to pay. And we've had these concerns from successive government. So if you want to talk about the economy today, how you manage it, how we've managed it until COVID broke, nobody. Look, when you have a global economy, the global supply chain, I've made that point on many occasions, and is aware. Go to Turkey today. Inflation in Turkey is over 82%. An industrialized country more than Ghana. Okay? You go to America, they've had an inflation highest in the last 40 years. You go to the UK, where they're rationing food. These are real times that we all find ourselves. We are not insulated from all this. President Mahama had just said about the ravaging effect of COVID-19 on all economies in the world. President Mahama, not more than 3 months ago, when he was addressing a student of Harvard University, he made that point, and we all agree. But we are saying that in the face of all these challenges, we need to come out of it. Our people are suffering. Sit down with government. Let's negotiate it. I have not said that government should close its ears to the challenges
there was
the teachers are
something you
facing.
said about the need for government officials to be very honest and to be open about the situation so that we can address it.
That's it.
Now, let's go into the issue of senior high schools and food shortage.
Right.
No, because I'll let you come in. Hold on.
But I just want to...
We even have to go to... before we come to this. But I just wanted to find out from you, because back in September 2021, I remember that the Ghana National Association of Teachers had warned about the prevailing food crisis and shortage in the senior high schools. Then the PRO of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng, came out and said that it was not true, and that whatever the problem is, they were addressing the situation was just isolated incidents here and there. Now, 7, 8, 9 months down the line, we're at a point where students are now complaining that there's no food in the schools. Head teachers are complaining, but they're even scared to come out and speak about it. Have government officials been very honest with us even about this particular situation?
Well, I maintain that not only with the food supply to the schools, I have had cause to complain where food is centrally procured and distributed to the schools. We've had system run over a long period of time, and that did not come without incidents of overpricing and overly burdening government chest and all that. So if you practice a system over a period of time, you need to do a review and see how it's going. I mean, with the free SHS and feeding system that came, it's about 5 years. And obviously, I think it's time for us to look at the situation, how it's impacting schools and all that. Does it have to do with the supply chain? Does it have to do with availability of food on the market? Does it have to do with people procurement and payment and all that? These are things that we need to look at. Yesterday, the speaker directed, I was not in the chamber at the time, that 5 different committees should investigate them.
Where were you?
I was attending to other parliamentary business outside the chamber. I mean, you know that.
So,
please, I believe that we should look at it holistically and find out, because see, if it's an isolated case, it's affecting one child or the other. So we can't, I'm not saying it's a nationwide thing, but if it's an isolated case, we need to investigate why a particular school or other has not.
But at the moment, it's not isolated, because we've heard from the PRO who says that, yes, we're trying to transport food to some of these schools so that they can have some food to eat.
Yeah, so we need to find out. Somebody was on contract to supply food to every school, every region in this country. What went wrong?
No money.
Well,
we didn't have money to pay the suppliers.
But today we are having money to send the food. So that's another thing we have to look at it. We have a national buffer stock that is supposed to stock food and supply to these schools all over the country. Is it an issue of overly centralizing the supply chain? We have to look at it. Or people had supply food that had not been paid over time, and they are reneging on their commitment to do the supply and all that. Look, we've had issues with bursars and matrons in schools when we were in secondary school. We had reported cases of these issues. So if government has taken the decision, then we must follow through. We know the academic calendar, we know the cycles kids go to school and all that. I think that they should issue a statement. I'm told by close of today, food will be sent to all the schools. It shouldn't be a food that is going to last for a week and we continue to have this problem. We should go back to the supply chain, the channel where we supply food, and make sure that there's consistent supply of food to kids in the schools. So this one is not something that anyone can sweep under the carpet to say you polish it. How well are you polishing it when kids in the schools are suffering? Last week, the Ministry of...
Land on this for me so I can go to Adokwe. He's been waiting for a while.
So...
No, I thought I would...
No, I have to go to Adokwe. He's been waiting for a while.
But I will respond, right?
So
yes, you will respond.
For me, when schools are hit with this news and kids are in school, I mean, it's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but I believe that from here, I'll call on the ministry to find out what really is a problem and perhaps speak to the buffer stock and see why, because buffer stock is an institution mandated to be able to hold the food buffer of our country and distribute when necessary. So I think that we need to go into it and look at it.
And okay, you've been waiting for a while. I want you to touch on this as well, of course, because you are a teacher. Now, there's been concerns about the fact that if there are issues within the schools, especially the head teachers, they decline to speak to the media and to even speak up for fear of being victimized. In this case, where there's barely food in our secondary schools for students, parents have complained that they've had to provide some money and food items to their wards and schools just so that they can continue to feed. This must be a very devastating problem, especially for the teachers too.
Thank you very much. I think, you see, the dilly-dallying, the twisting of facts when it comes to the running of our educational sector, especially the senior high school level, due to political expediency, is much to be desired, and there is a need for all of us to see through that where we are heading to. It will get to a time we will all get into the ditch, and there will be nothing that we can do about it. You see, we have to set our priorities right. Everybody knows that if there is money, money available, this gap will not be created. It is as a result of money. That is the whole issue. Because how come there will be food shortages? It is because of money. So the money is not going to where it is supposed to go to. And we should set our priorities right. There are a lot of things that are not being done right, to me personally. And it is like we have taken on a problem onto ourselves and we are unable to solve that very problem. Why should you even feed an SHS day student? You are feeding some primary school pupils, not all. 97 pesos a day. Even that one, you have issues. Not all primary students or pupils. You are not feeding JHS students. You are not feeding them. No JHS student is fed in this country. And then you jump and then you feed senior high school day students. Is it not because of political expediency? Everybody can see through that this is politics. And we are playing a lot of politics at the senior high school level to the detriment of the welfare and the progress of academic work in the various schools. If the children are not being fed well, it affects us, the teachers. And let me tell you, it started more than a week ago. They started using you either bring your own sugar or you'll be giving cocoa raw. It started.
When did it start?
It started more than a week ago. It started before the news even came up.
Okay.
Schools, they are feeding raw cocoa. You see, and we know, but you come out and then you say it. Recently, even not last September, but even this year, about 2 months ago, when the same issue was raised by the NAT General Secretary.
Yeah.
You saw a minister going to Achimota School with some media personalities. He went there with the media to tell the whole of Ghana that he is lying and there is food in Achimota School. And once there's food in Achimota School, it means there is food everywhere. You see, let's stop this politicking and let's be serious with what is happening at the senior high school level. Let's stop it. I think let us set our priorities right. If there is a need for the review of the the so-called free senior high school policy, let us deal with it.
Do you think it should be reviewed?
Now, why should we even have something like free senior high school?
You don't think we need free senior high school at all?
Why should we have a name like free senior? What is it? Why should we have a name like free senior high school? Do we have a name like free primary school? It is already in the constitution and we are not even implementing it properly because of politics. We have left the foundation and we are dealing with the building on top. We are not providing books for basic schools free of charge, but we are providing for senior high school. Basic school pupils are supposed to buy their own uniform, textbooks and everything. But we are doing what we are not doing at the basic level. We are doing it at the senior high school level. And then we call it free. We have given it a name, free senior high school. What are we doing? Let's be serious for once. We are suffering when our children are suffering, when our pupils, students are suffering. Teachers also go through the same hardship. It is very difficult. You cannot teach a child on an empty stomach. So please, if we need to review everything and set the priorities right, let us do it and let's stop the politicking.
But I mean, there have been concerns, and I remember that even the finance minister mentioned it, that instead of providing free education to every child at the senior high school level, why not allow parents who can afford it pay? So that those who cannot afford, because we've been told that free SHS in a way also increased the number of students who came to school at that level, about 1.2 million or so of such students came to school. Hitherto, there were students who were home and could not afford to go to secondary school. So it opened the door for these students to come in. So if you say, why should there be something like free senior high school? Should we rather not review it so that we allow those who can afford or pay to pay and allow those who cannot to enjoy that free senior high school?
I am not saying that there shouldn't be free education, but I say that why are we espousing the free SHS? Why not free primary, free JHS?
So you think we should start with what, JHS, before we move to the senior high school?
You let me come to, you see, the time that the finance minister said that thing, I was at that meeting.
Yeah.
I was at that meeting. And he said it, but the NPP communicators came in to shut him down. And yes, you realize it. They came in to tell him, no, that is not the way we ought to go. So it means that even amongst the present government, there are people who think that something should be done about what is happening. Somebody is going to the basics or JHS now, and the parents are paying thousands of Ghana cedis as fees. And then that same child wants to go to the senior high school, and you said, it is free, don't pay anything. Don't bring mattress, I'm going to give you uniform, everything is free. And then at the end of the day, there are problems. That is why I'm saying that let us put some measures in place. We should look at it again. Let us look at it again. Let us involve the Parent-Teacher Association. Let us not push them aside as we've done now. They've been helping a lot, and they've helped in time immemorial. So let us prioritize certain things. Let us reprogram the whole thing and look at it the second time so that these things will stop. If not, it will recur. And we'll continue to play the politics with it. And teachers will be suffering, students will be suffering. At the end of the day, parents are also suffering because you'll be there and every weekend you have to send money to your ward.
Okay.
And we don't want to talk about it. So there is a need for a review. At least, even if you start a program, there is a need for you to sit down and review it again.
What should change? Apart from the concern you raised about feeding day students.
To tell us what should change.
But you are a teacher. You are the communication director for the concerned coalition of concerned teachers. Clearly, if there's supposed to be some, dialogue, your voice will be heard.
Definitely. So if the time comes and we are called and we judge, we will know what to do. We will know where we will set our priorities right.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, we will know that, no, let's do this. Those who want to go to boarding, why should somebody go to boarding? Free of charge, not paying water, electricity, nothing. And then somebody will also be a day student. And then he will be picking vehicle as much as 30 Ghana cedis in and out. And then that person is also a Ghanaian. So I will not be happy if my child is made to be a day student and will be commuting, let's say, from Accra Central to Laboni Secondary School, and will be spending over 20 Ghana cedis on transportation. While somebody's ward is right there in the boarding house, being fed morning, afternoon, and evening, not paying anything for electricity, water, and then my child will still be dependent on me, will sleep, use my water, electricity, and everything. I think it is even not fair. We are not treating some Ghanaians fairly in this manner. Let us be fair to everybody. Let us share the cake equally. Let everybody be satisfied. Let us set our priorities right. And then at the end of the day, our educational system will be running perfect.
Let me just let you respond to something that Honorable Sly brought up about some teachers who were posted to certain areas and were only paid for just 3 months.
For 3 years.
For 3 years?
3 years.
Oh, okay. Yes. They were posted and they were only paid for 3 months.
Yes. Under the previous regime.
Under the previous regime. I mean, just to,
clear
that.
We have the so-called legacy arrears.
Yes.
We started, I think, in 2015, we started undertaking some remedial measures to clear the legacy arrears. It is true. Some people has taught for 3 years. They were paid 3 months. And all these things came about as a result of, at that time, a district director could even employ. So a district director can even employ you as a teacher. And would then go. So there was a mishap in the whole thing, and it brought about those legacy arrears. And at the end of the day, government also came with a new program that nobody will be paid salary arrears beyond 3 months. So that created a whole backlog. But that thing has not stopped.
It hasn't stopped. So those teachers who were paid only about 3 months, have they received the rest of their salaries?
I think majority of them, we've done a lot of remedial measures.
Okay.
And you could say that there were a lot of agitation, and this very government took over, and a lot of them have been paid. But that thing has not stopped, because you see, teachers will be promoted. I was promoted, and then they will tell you the effective date is September 2020. But so at the end of the day, you will not receive any back pay, or you receive it only 3 months. So the government can decide to implement your promotion maybe after a year, and you cannot complain. And then anytime that you are put on, you are given only 3 months. So all these things are issues at the educational front that we need to
and we're talking about the salaries, right? Or is it the arrears?
Salaries.
The salaries.
Yeah, salaries.
Okay.
So, because if you are promoted, you've got to be put on a new salary.
Yeah.
But why should the government wait for over 1 year before putting me on the new salary scale and then give me only 3 months?
So that means that they were taking the old salary for a year.
Yes.
For the newly recruited ones.
Even newly recruited teachers, as we speak now, when were they recruited? Were they not recruited last I think, let's say they were recruited in February. But up till now, they've not been put on salaries. And let's wait and see whether they will receive all the 3 months.
When you say they've not been put on salary, so what are they receiving? Allowances?
They are not receiving anything for now. Their salaries are now being processed.
And how long have they taught for?
What I am saying is that the issue of back pay, we can go back and forth on it. Teachers are promoted. I know when I'm promoted this year, I should be on a new salary scale. But you will be promoted, you will not be put on that salary scale. They will wait for months, sometimes even a year, before you are put on. And you are given only 3 months back pay.
So there's no backlog of the months that you have worked? They don't pay for those months?
There's no backlog. You receive only 3 months. You can ask all teachers. So even if you are promoted, you don't know the specific day you will be put on your right salary. And then if you are put on your right salary, you are given only 3 months. So this is also an issue.
Okay.
So I don't want us to go into that one.
Okay.
We want COLA. We are on strike. Our members are still on strike. We want to tell them that they should have confidence in us. We are still on strike.
Okay. All right.
If we find out that something positive is rearing its head from the side of government, we will get back to them and tell them the next line of action.
Okay.
All right. COLA. We want to survive.
All right.
We just want to survive.
We hope that government would also, give a good deal to some extent so that you can call off the strike for the sake of students who need their teachers back in class.
Well, I think it's settled.
What is that? I was on the floor. I was on the floor. I'm not fighting.
No. He has to speak now.
But I was on the floor before.
No, you were done. That's why.
You were done.
I was done with you.
Give him 1 minute. Give him 1 minute of my time.
My time is not much.
1 minute of my time.
Bella, this issue, the statement I made, he hasn't denied it. That there's a legacy debt. The legacy debt came about when teachers were recruited. And he's giving reason for that. That at the time, even district directors could have employed.
Yes.
I'm telling him on a fact that today, no district director has a mandate to employ. Then he ran away, got into promotion.
Me or he?
Him.
You are not blaming him.
I'm not blaming him.
Fight me, don't fight him.
I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting him either. To say that if you are promoted, your arrears, you don't know when it takes effect and all that. That's a different matter.
No, but he says there are some newly recruited teachers as well who have to wait because their salaries are now being processed.
Let me tell you, that's fine. But to say that you brought a policy, you worked for 3 years, and you are taking only 3 months, that became the legacy
1 minute. It's enough.
All right, please let's allow comrades to also speak on
it is the mouth that lies, but the heart knows the truth.
Which is?
In this case, who is lying?
Well, the viewing public, I haven't, why? Why? That if they say that someone has stolen saltpeter in the market, and then you start running, then everybody will know who has stolen the saltpeter. I'm saying that, Bella, I said if they say that someone has stolen a saltpeter in the center of the market, and you have started running, everybody will know who has stolen it. Who the cap fits. Bella, I don't want to do this. He's saying that we should look at the figures. And I want to look at the figures. Economic figures of NDC under President Mahama and what we experience today, and even the real economic circumstances of the people of this country, which, by the way, he admitted.
Are we not moving on from
that?
No,
but he said that.
I said 2017 to 2019.
I'm saying that we'll look at that.
Yeah, look at it.
Under the NDC,
please allow Comrade to speak.
President Mahama is not an economist. You had a vice president who supervised an economy that had inflation of 8.5% for 33 months. You had a vice president who supervised an economy that the economy grew by 14%. Hey. Now you have a vice, when he became president, unemployment was 6.8. Today, unemployment is over 19%. You are running away from the fact that I told you, look at
even with the 1 minute,
he's not doing that. Even with the 1 minute, even with the 1 minute, I gave him.
I gave him a timeline. I gave him a timeline. Speak to 2017.
I'll come to that. Okay, gentlemen, please, let's just give him some 1 minute to speak so we can go, please.
He couldn't utilize it.
Land on this for me, Comrade.
Under the same President Mahama, who is not an economist, the CD to the dollar.
Okay.
The CD to the dollar was the
time that I gave him. I'm not giving a chance to allow them to speak, so I will have to wrap up. Sly.
The timeline I gave him. He's
Sly.
today.
Okay.
Today we know the effect of the COVID and the Ukraine.
You've allowed him to take all your time, comrade. We have to go.
No, you should be stopping him.
No, but I've told him to keep quiet. But you also gave him time.
No, I want to respect the viewing public.
Can we? Okay, Sly, hold on. Sly, please. Director, please, let's just be fair to comrade. Allow him to land on this so we can wrap up.
Friend has decided to disregard and disrespect your viewing public when they listen to him. I mean, yes, the only thing you should do is to listen to us, even if you feel uncomfortable with what we say.
Okay.
I'm saying that Ghana was not the only country that was affected with COVID.
Okay.
Many other countries. Now they are now running to America to compare us with America and Turkey. You don't need to compare us with America and Turkey. Compare us with our neighbors. Compare us with Togo, with Benin, with Ivory Coast, in fact, with Senegal. You have extorted money from the people of this country in the name of COVID. Yes, it's true.
Extorted?
Yes.
How?
Yes, you have told us, let me finish. You have told us that you are giving us, you have told us that you are giving us water fee. We are now being, you are now being asked to pay. You use Frontier Health. You use Frontier Health.
Time is up. We have to go. I'm sorry. We have to go. We've been speaking to Sylvester Matthew Tete. He's the MP for Bochiano, English, and Manfred constituency. And Honorable Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is the MP for Tamale Central constituency. And earlier, we also had the communications director for the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, Ghana, Adokwe Ayikwe Awule, also joining us. A big thank you to the Lash Closet by Nana for my outfit. You can find it on the Shashi Road if you're going towards East Legon. Thank you so much for my outfit. And of course, this segment has been proudly brought to you by Nish Cocoa and Nish Chocolates. Nish Taste of Ghana. Thank you so much. We'll be back with some more. Keep watching. This is